not seeing any music coming out, but it says it's playing music. It says it's playing Christmas music. I don't know if I believe that or not. So I'm going to go on my LinkedIn app on my phone. This is how I do the background check on this one. And I'm going to go into my event from LinkedIn and see if the music is playing. Can you hear the music playing? Let me know in chat if you can hear the music playing right now. It says Christmas, but I'm not seeing anything. I'm not hearing anything. Let's see. I'm tapping to join. I might get an echo right now. Join. And see if the music is. It's playing. That's the weirdest thing. All right. Well, I'm going to turn it off right now and get us started here. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where in the world you're watching from and what time of day you're joining. My name is Brenda Meller, and I am your host for today's very impromptu LinkedIn Live, where I'm going to be sharing with you some answers to questions about using LinkedIn for job search, and also my new program, which is called Level Up. And it's really designed for people who are looking to level up their LinkedIn presence to support their job search now in December, as well as getting into the year 2025. So if you're here, could you do me a favor? Drop a comment below. You can just do a one-word hi, hello, if you want. That'd be great. Or even better would be let me know where in the world you're watching from, the city, the state, the region that you're coming from. And I will start to pull your comments up on screen. I see John is joining here. John, thank you for letting me know. Something's going on weird. I think I might have some internet trollers or maybe some Christmas elves playing around on my computer right now, because I could see that I played the music, but I couldn't hear it, which was really weird. So I've got to do some troubleshooting. I'll have to call my IT department. Hold on. Hey, IT department. Yes, how can I help you? When you're self-employed, you're doing all this stuff. So I'll have to figure that out a little bit later. But I appreciate you letting me know. And Michael, you were also saying that, yes, you were hearing the music. And then John told me now it's stopped. So I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of it. But I want to welcome all of you that are joining. You get a little shout out from me if you come in the audience and you jump into the comments. I see Jacqueline is joining us as well. Nice to see you, Jacqueline. And also we have Leo joining us from Michigan. It's cold in Michigan today. This is the first day I've gotten my turtleneck sweaters out because it's so frigid outside. My dog, Pepper, loves this weather. I think she's part reindeer. She loves eating the snow when we go on walks, and she doesn't get bothered at all by the cold out there. So if you're in Michigan, I'm sure you can commiserate with me on the cold weather. It is really pretty. The snow is very sparkly on the ground, I do have to say. We have Ralph joining us from New Jersey. Nice to see you, Ralph. Whoops. I don't mean to block you. Oh, there it goes. Americo, I think I accidentally just blocked you for a second, but then I clicked it again and I unblocked it. So sorry about that. So thank you so much for joining us from Toronto, from the north there. And Michael, you're in Michigan as well. John, you're the IT department in your house, right? My son, if he was home, he would be my IT department. I would call him over and have him help to troubleshoot me. So at any rate, I'm going to continue to welcome those of you who are joining us for the live stream. Continue to drop your comments into chat. And if you do have any questions for me, please feel free to drop those into chat as well. Now, I am doing piloting and co-piloting as per usual on here. So I'm just going to take a second to drop into the chat the topic so that you can see. I'll just say ask your questions in comments. I think this will work if I put this in here. I'm using Restream now for my videos, and I did recently change over from StreamYard. So it's like when you go in the grocery store, and one of my favorite grocery stores is Kroger. If I go in the Kroger in Warren, Michigan, I know where everything's at. If I go in the Kroger in Troy, Michigan, I know that they sell the items. I just don't know what aisles they're in. So it's kind of like that for me using Restream. Getting a little better at it, but it will take me a minute to navigate to see your chat and things that are coming in. So today we're going to be going through some of the questions that I've been asked over the past week during my webinars. And what I'd like to do is just review some of these questions, because for three reasons. One is you might have attended one webinar and not the other, and you didn't get a chance to hear the questions that were asked on the other webinars. Two is you may have missed all three of my webinars, and you do have some questions about using LinkedIn for your job search, and I'd like to be able to help you out with that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just pulling up my the Q&A panel. I think it's called Q&A inside of Zoom, and then I'll be reading off those questions and giving you some responses. So giving you some work to help out. This episode will also be going on my podcast, which I call Experience Rich. So delighted to be able to reach people now through your ears as well as through your video screen. Okay, so let's start with one question here. How to set up a profile so your current employer doesn't find out about job search. This is a really interesting technique, and I like to refer to this as using LinkedIn in stealth mode. Now, it's not a button or a setting or something. There's not like a stealth mode. Turn stealth mode on your profile. It's more of an approach to how do you set up your LinkedIn profile and activities in a way that makes it look like you're a really highly engaged employee, that you love your job, you support your company, so that way you're not setting off any red flags that you're using LinkedIn for your job search. And the beauty of this approach is that it makes it look like you're a great employee of your company. So they're not going to think that you're looking inside the organization. And the other thing is, from the outside perspective, you look like a great potential hire for a recruiter or a hiring manager. So, in terms of how to set up your profile so your employer doesn't find out about your job search, make sure that you have links to your employer websites, branding in your LinkedIn header, and that you are regularly commenting on your company page posts, or even better, reposting with your thoughts to your timeline. Maybe do that once a week, once a month, even or so. That way, they're not going to find out about your job search because you look like you're a highly engaged employee of the company. Now, there are some additional things that you can do to like minimize visibility. And what you can do is you can remove connections. So once upon a time, many years ago, I was thinking about making a career change. I didn't want my boss to know. I didn't want the president of the company to know. And how do I say this politically correct? These were not individuals that I wished to remain in contact with after I left the organization. Is that good? I've been on a corporate for a while, so I have to kind of put my corporate communication framework in place again. So these were not individuals that I would be maintaining contact with after I left the organization. So I didn't really care if they knew I was disconnecting from them or not. So the good thing is they weren't very active on LinkedIn, so they probably didn't notice it at all. And LinkedIn won't send them a notification saying Brenda removed you as a connection. But the next time that they go to my profile, they would see second next to my name. So it's that, say, a second level connection. Now, if you want to take that a step further, you can block people as well. Now, blocking will prohibit them from seeing you and your activity, you from seeing them and their activity. But if that were to happen, let's say I blocked someone named Bill, for example, and Bill looks up my profile, I would say this profile cannot be found. Now, Bill could walk over to Ray's desk and say, Ray, can you look up Brenda's profile real quick? Because I can't find her. And that seems kind of weird. And Ray would look me up. And if I wasn't blocking Ray, then Ray could see my profile. And then Bill would go, oh, she blocked me, right? Maybe. I don't know. So there's some different levels of things that you can do. I usually don't resort to blocking, especially if you're a current employee of the company. But I would say connect strategically. Maybe don't accept invitations from coworkers that you don't want to remain in contact with after you leave the organization. But again, if you don't want them to find out about your job search, I would say make it look like you're a really great employee of the company. And I think it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways. You wouldn't turn on the open to work banner, the green badge on your headshot photo, like obviously. And you would not upload your resume anywhere publicly on your profile, meaning putting it in your featured section or anything like that. I think that's pretty clear, but I want to kind of state the obvious just in case you're not thinking about that. All right, so that's the first question. And again, I'm just reviewing some questions about using LinkedIn for your job search here today. If you have any questions, you can submit those in chat. Related question. This was something that had come up in a conversation recently. What if I am currently in career transition? I've worked for another organization and then I left that organization. And during my hiatus, I started a consulting firm. But now I'm thinking about moving back into job search again and marketing myself as a candidate. I don't want my consulting clients to feel like, they're at risk in here as well. So I'm still evaluating my consulting business, but I'm really trying to prioritize finding a full-time job. So what I would do is think about your profile looking through the lens from two audiences. One is a hiring manager or a recruiter. Now that's your primary audience right now. The second audience would be potential consulting clients. Okay. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky, and I can't figure this answer out for you. You've got to decide for yourself. What's your bigger priority? Growing your consulting business or finding a full-time job? Okay. Let's say your bigger priority right now is finding a full-time job. You need to really steer your profile in the direction of weighting yourself more heavily as a candidate with mentions of consulting. So, for example, in your about statement, the very first few lines of that, I might say something like, while I'm looking for my next full time position in marketing leadership in Metro Detroit, I'm taking on part time and contract work through my consulting business, Meller Marketing. You see what I did just there? I'm explaining to recruiters who look at my profile, my priority is to find a job, but I'm not just sitting around waiting. I'm doing some consulting, I'm doing some project work, but it's because I am not fully employed yet. Okay, so that addresses that question mark that might exist on your profile. Now, if that were me in that situation, I would let my consulting clients know, I'm happy to be working with you on a part-time basis, but I am looking for full-time employment. What you might want to do is first say, is there an opportunity for this position to move into a full-time role in the future? And if they say not at this time, just let them know I'm going to be maybe slowly opening that door to looking for employment if they feel comfortable saying that, obviously letting them know so that way if they see it on your profile, they're not surprised. So letting them know first before they read it on there. In addition, I would make sure that you have a company page set up for your consulting business. It's free to set it up, super easy to do. If you need any help with that, message me and I've got like a link in a video and a checklist that you can work through. But that helps to legitimize your consulting business. So that way you might be getting more consulting clients as you're looking for a job. All right. So hopefully this is helpful so far in here. And if you have any questions, please drop them into chat. I do see one question for understanding removing someone as a connection will remove them from seeing my posts directly. So if you remove them from being a connection, they should start to see fewer of your posts in the homepage feed. But what happens here is that LinkedIn will show you posts in your homepage feed from people that are your first level connections and followers, as well as posts that your first level connections and followers interact with. So if you want to prevent them from seeing any of your posts, you should block them. Okay. If you want to minimize, you could remove them as a connection. Now, it will decrease the likelihood that your post will appear in the homepage feed, but it's not going to entirely remove it because your first level connections might be interacting with your posts, and that second level connection could potentially see it. Okay. So I appreciate where you're going with your question. Hopefully that helps you out on there. And this is an anonymous user. This might be because you are not set up as public, or this might be you don't have your third party settings enabled, but they say, great insight. Love your commitment to your vision to make LinkedIn work for so many. I am delighted to help people out on here. All right, let's move along here. And we're probably going to go until about 1 o'clock with the questions here today, just to let you know from a timing perspective. Next question. Do you recommend adding the open to work banner on your LinkedIn profile? And in this case, the individual is referring to the open to work, the green badge that goes around your headshot photo. What I would say to that is if you are unemployed in career transition, if it just happened, I probably wouldn't enable it just yet. I might give it 3 to 6 months, searching for a job, seeing what happens, because you might be in a situation where your career transition happens pretty quickly or back to work soon and you don't have to enable it. If at the point that it's maybe 6 to 12 months in, you're still looking for a job, then I probably would turn it on. The reason is this: I'd rather market myself as a candidate based on the strengths, the experiences I have to offer, experience rich, right? My past career experiences, my knowledge, my insights. I'd rather have somebody discover my profile and then discover that I'm immediately available to work instead of leading with the green open to work banner right away. That's just a personal preference. There's nothing wrong with enabling it right away. It's just my personal preference. Now, if you're still looking, like I said, at 6 months, 12 months in, then I probably would turn it on because in the open to work area, there's two settings. You can set it to open to work and visible to recruiters only, which you definitely want to do as soon as you're unemployed, as soon as you start looking for that new job. Or you can set it to open work to the public. And when you choose public, that's when you get the green banner on your headshot photo. So, personal preference, if it were me, I'd wait a couple months before turning that on. And then I might even toggle off turning it off every other month, turning it back on again, because that might help you to come to more top of your searches by recruiters and hiring managers in there. All right, another question in here. I've heard it's best to change a word in your headline every 1 to 2 weeks to stay at the top of the recruiter's search results. Is that true? I haven't seen any data specifically that says changing one word every 1 to 2 weeks will help you to come up in this top of search results. But I think the philosophy here is based on SEO, search engine optimization. We think about Google search results, for example. Google's goal is to try to put the best search results at the top of your page. Of course, they have ads and stuff in there too, right? But they want to get the organic search results to come to the top of the page. And they rank web pages based on how new they are or how much relevancy there is and how frequently the pages have been updated. And I think it's the same when it comes to LinkedIn. Does your profile look fresh and has it been refreshed periodically? I don't know if changing one word is going to help you to come up to the top of the search results in your headline if it's just one word that you're changing around. But if you are looking for a new job, I highly recommend that you have at least one targeted job title in your headline because that will help you to come up in more searches by recruiter. Okay, so that is important. That would be my advice for you. Not just changing a word, but making sure that you have a job title in your headline. I think that's an important distinction on it there. All right, so that was series of questions from, I'm not sure which webinar that was. I think that was yesterday's webinar. Let me look at the date on this real quick. Yeah, I think this was yesterday's webinar. I do have, I do 3 webinars over the past week. So let me just pull up last Saturday's webinar, and then I'll do the same thing. I'll kind of look through and see what questions were asked from that session. Okay, so let's open up our Q&A report. And this is interesting because it's CSV, and when I open it in Excel, I'm getting like an error message, LinkedIn saying you can't open that inside there. So let me go into, it'll take me just a second. By the way, we are doing a live Q&A today. This is live, and that's why you get hearing me pause a little bit inside here. So let me go back to Mailer Marketing. You know, it's interesting too. I have 2 folders in my desktop here called webinars. You ever do this? You have like multiple folders, and I save things in the second version of the folder instead of the first version of the folder. So now I've got the first version of the folder. Does that make sense? I don't know. I do backups regularly on my computer, and I've got 2 folders in here. Okay, so here's some questions that were asked during Saturday's session. First question was about the green ribbon. Should you put the green ribbon on your photo? I've already answered that. Maybe, depending on how long it's been since you've been looking for a job on there. Okay, another question is tagging someone when you use the @ sign and their name. Yes, and let me do a quick on-screen demonstration because this is something I did in the webinar. And if you're not super heavy user of social media, tagging might feel a bit unfamiliar to you. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and I'm not going to do a post, but I'm going to start a post so you can kind of see what that process looks like in here. So I'm going to click on share. And I think you should be seeing, yep, there's my LinkedIn screen. Hey, it's Leah Goldman in my homepage. Go follow Leah. Check her out. She's got some really great posts. Okay, so here's what we do when we tag a person in a post. I'm going to click on startup, and then I'm just going to say, check out the great information offered by just typing something in. And since Leah Goldman, since you were in my homepage feed right now, I'm going to use you as an example. So I'm going to type in the @ sign, the little A with the circle, no space, and then the first name. Now, if you have many people with that same first name, LinkedIn's going to pull up all of them in there. You might not see that person right away. So here's my little technique. I like to do @ first name - last name until LinkedIn identifies that person. And then once you find them in the drop-down list, you'll click on it. And then did you see what just happened? The @ sign went away and it replaced it with bolded text in there. So let me just try that technique again. @ sign, type in the person's first name - last name. Oops, I got a typo there. And then once you see the drop down, you click on the name and that makes it bolded. Now, once I click on post, this bolded text will be a blue hyperlink, and then it would give a notification to Leah. Now, I'm not going to post this right now for 2 reasons. One, I already did a post today, and I know that there's a penalty for posting too much within 1 business day. And 2, I did do a post earlier today, and I'm actually going to share this on screen right now, where I tagged some other people so I can use this as an example. And you can see here, you can tag organizations. So I tagged Inforum, the women's organization, in that post. I tagged Kendra Corman, Lee Moss, and Stella Voitilevich. I'll be adding tags in for the other ladies in there a little bit later on today as well. But that's just to show you what it looks like. And right now, let me pull this up a little bit larger. So if I click on Kendra's name, which is in blue, it will actually open up her profile. So it will allow people that are visiting that post, when you tag people, it will allow them to visit that individual's profile. Okay. So that's the technique for tagging a person. So tagging a person involves the use of that @ sign that's inside there. Whereas hashtags are a little bit different. Hashtags are like the pound sign. Remember that on the telephone, the pound sign? Hashtag, where it's a keyword or a phrase that's in there. Okay, so that takes care of tagging someone. The next question, what is the slideshow thing? And we showed a post by Elena Scherer in my webinar, and they said, what's the slideshow thing that Elena Scherer did in her manifesto posts, where you have pages that you flip through? And the technique here is actually just a PDF with multiple pages. So when you upload a PDF in your post, then you get the ability to click through and to see the different pages inside there. So it's actually not a LinkedIn feature that creates a slideshow. It's just a PDF, multiple page document inside there. Okay. All right, next question. Should I link in with every recruiter that contacts me? Really great question in here. And, is really your personal philosophy and what kind of vibe are you getting from that recruiter? If you think the recruiter might be somebody you'd like to keep in contact with, they're bringing you quality positions and jobs and things like that, I would say, yeah, absolutely. Every recruiter that contacts you could be a potential path to find a new job, right? Now, if they're bringing you irrelevant job postings, they seem really spammy, overly salesy, I would say don't connect with them, right? But that's a personal preference on there. Okay. Next question. Do you suggest omitting graduation dates for experience-rich job seekers? Now, this is a really great question. I'm going to ask if there's anyone else in my LinkedIn community who has concrete data that can say, yes, this penalizes you, or no, it doesn't, from a search results perspective. But what I know is that if you have dates in your graduation for college or university, LinkedIn can estimate, if based on your bachelor's degree, that you were probably 21, 22 years old when you graduated from college. They might be off by a year or two, but it's fairly close in there. And then they use that data to serve you ad results. So there's a way inside LinkedIn Marketing Solutions where people can purchase ads and they can target specific demographic categories. Age range is one of the categories. So they pull the age. It's like an inferred age from your education section. Okay. So by not putting graduation dates, you'll get less ads that are targeted for age groups in there. And then from the perspective of an experience-rich job seeker, if you're trying to not make it so evident that you are 67 years old, for example, or 52 or 48 or whatever age you are, by omitting the graduation date, it makes it a little bit more challenging for people to figure out what your age is. And personally, I would like people to interview me, to hire me based on the merits that I bring to the role, based on the fact that I do have an experience rich background, based on the fact that I am qualified, that I will hit the ground running, right? Um, Rather than, the age that I am. Am I the right age for the role that's in there? So I lean more towards omitting the graduation dates and making sure that our profile is built in a way that is showcasing our experiences, that has great keywords throughout. Ultimately, they're going to see about how old you are when you do an interview with them, whether it's Zoom or in person. We're not going to be able to hide that. And even if you take out your college graduation dates, they're going to be able to see based on your different work experiences how many years those add up to, right? So it's really a personal preference on this. I lean more towards maybe individuals who are more concerned about age discrimination to take off the graduation dates from college or university graduation in there than leaving them in. Okay. And if I find any concrete data that says otherwise, I will let you know. And what I mean by that is I did hear once upon a time that if you omit the dates from your college degree, your graduation dates, it looks like you don't have the degree. I haven't seen any concrete data that backs that up. So I think that could be a hypothesis, not 100% accurate. All right. Next question. Is your profile more optimized by having key terms in the body of your sentences in the experience section, Or is it better for them to be in the skills list after each job? Now, what I have heard here is this is going back to search engine optimization, SEO concepts. The more often a word or phrase appears throughout your profile, the more likely you'll come to the top of search results. Having said that, LinkedIn doesn't want us to be keyword stuffing, just like Google doesn't like keyword stuffing. So I think it's actually better to have a combination. And I will let you know in the skills section, we used to be able to have 50 skills. Now we can have up to 100 skills in there. I have heard that getting 99 plus endorsements for a specific skill helps you to come up in more searches. So that's something to consider. But I also think, let's say, for example, you wanted to come up in more searches for marketing strategy, having that skill in your experience section and then linking that skill to a few of your recent careers would be helpful, in addition to putting it in one of your top 5 skills in your about statement, in addition to sprinkling it within the body of sentences in your about section, in your experience section, maybe even some of your affiliations, things like that. So the more often marketing strategy appears throughout your profile, the more likely you'll be to come up to the top of search results for that keyword or phrase. Hopefully that makes sense for you. So again, we're not looking at keyword stuffing. We want to make sure that it looks like we are genuinely experienced with that specific skill in there. Okay. Another question. This is a really great one. I am not working now. What do you recommend for your current employer? This is such a great question. And I'm going to share my screen as I demonstrate this technique here. But the first thing I want you to think about is the fact that LinkedIn does say that having a current employer on your profile will mean that you come up in more search results. And there's an exact percentage. I can't remember it, whether it's 20% or 30% or something like that. But they've basically said having a current employer on your profile will allow you to come up in more search results. Now, the flip side of that, if you're reading in between the lines here, is that not having a current employer penalizes you. So you won't come up in as many search results on LinkedIn. I'm going to scroll down to the experience section as I'm talking about this right now. So what I'm looking for in here is your top experience should have whatever the start date was until present. Now, if you've left your last employer, whether by choice or not by choice, I would say if you haven't put an end date on there yet, don't put one in there. Okay. Now, what I would do is maybe go into the description section and put it in the past tense. Whereas if you're in the role, I am responsible for marketing strategy and public relations. Put it in the past tense. I was responsible for marketing strategy and public relations. So that's one technique to do. And then keep it as present. Now, if asked in an interview, oh, are you still with Meller Marketing? You would say, well, I've heard that there's a penalty that occurs on LinkedIn by not having a current employer. So my plan is to not put an end date until I start my new employment. I do want you to keep in mind LinkedIn is a marketing tool. It's not a legally binding document. So if you fill out a job application, that's a legally binding document. You have to put the start date and the end date. You have to be truthful in there. But LinkedIn, we know it's a marketing tool. So by keeping your last employer still noted on your profile, that's helping you to come up in more search results. Okay. The other thing to think about is, it's just the optics. When people look at your profile, recruiters tend to lean towards hiring candidates who are already working because they're trying to lure you away from that. Not everyone, but that is a philosophy that many will follow, right? So seeing that you're working for a big name company, and then once they get into learning about you, they're excited about you. They're like, oh, she's not there anymore. She's immediately available. That's even better, right? So it's kind of that surprise and delight. Now, what if you're in a situation that you've already put an end date on there? So don't change it to current again, because I don't want people to think that you went back to the company. But what I would do instead is there anything else that you can add in here? For example, are you a member of any professional organization? So I'm going to show you a few on my profile. I'm a member of Innovation Women. It's basically a speaking organization for women. So you could put member and just put the name of the organization in there. That's one technique. Other things that I've done a little bit lower in my profile here. I've served on boards for organization. I've been a part of leadership teams for membership organizations as well. So you could put a couple of those in here as well. I'm going to scroll down just to show you an example. So here's one: Inforum, the organization where I had the Santa hat video a little while ago. I am the Troy Affinity Group founder, co-leader, and a member of that organization. So I put that in my experience section. You might be saying, well, wait a minute, Brenda, you're not working there as an employee. No, but I'm a pro bono working for the organization by running the group, right? And also, it's just providing a placeholder so you have a current employer, so to speak, in your experience section. If you don't belong to a professional organization, join one. So then you can add that into your experience section. Alternatively, if you don't want to list, or you don't have a professional organization you can list in there, there's a couple of different open to work or open, let me see, I think there's one that's called open to new opportunities. Here it is. I was looking this up the other day. You can link to a company page on LinkedIn that is just called something like one of these, open to new opportunities. Some of these have graphical locations. They have maybe industry trends that go along with it. So what happens here is when you link to this page that is called open to new opportunities, let me see if I can find one in here. I'm going to use on here Yuka as an example. When we go to this individual's experience section, they're linked to the page that's called Open to New Opportunities. And then in the job title field, they're putting their targeted job titles in there. So that's an alternative that you can do. You can create your own company page, or you can just find one that's out on the website. The final strategy that you could consider with regards to having a current employer, if you're not currently working, is just create a company page and just call it Meller Marketing. You know, you don't have to be an LLC or anything. You just call it the name of your last name. You know, maybe it's marketing consulting by Meller. Who cares? It's just a placeholder for now. And then you could put a description that says, I'm currently seeking marketing leadership opportunities in Metro Detroit. While I'm on career hiatus, I'm also taking on part-time project and consulting work. Even if you're not, you could put that in there. Again, it's a marketing tool for your business. So I want you to think about this creatively as you are in career transition. Okay, next question. This person who attended my webinar, we were talking about 3 ways of supercharging your LinkedIn profile for supporting your job search. And I also introduced my Level Up program. And the person said, I don't know what I want to do. Will the Level Up program help me? So the Level Up program was designed to provide you with tips to improve your presence, your profile, your activities, all those things together to support your job search and to avoid that black hole of job search that happens. So inside the Level Up program, I do have a bonus that I give to all of my members. It's a career strategy worksheet, which essentially, the way I like to think about it is your resume is your history. That's what you've done. Your career strategy worksheet is what is your plan for going forward? What do you want to be seeking in your next job? What are the skills that you're bringing to the table that you'd like to use again? What are a list of targeted companies and attributes of that company? So it helps you just to kind of get it all out of your head and put it on a piece of paper. So within the Level Up program, yes, there is a bonus that can help you with deciding what you want to be when you grow up, essentially. And then I do recommend that my students use that career strategy worksheet. It's really for you. But I would say do some informational interviews with people in your network. Have conversations with people that maybe work in a possible desired industry and ask them some questions about what the industry is like, what the culture is like, what they love, what they hate about their job, and get some conversation started on there. Okay. All right. For the Level Up program, we are doing, they said it's a time set in stone on Mondays, or will you take a poll to see what works best? So what I'm planning on doing is the program will be starting in January. And by the way, I should probably put the link inside the chat here. Let me just add it real quick for you all. So I'm just going to say Level Up. If you're interested in learning about the program, I would not be a very good marketer if I didn't put this link up on screen right now. So let me put this up here for you. And my registration for the program is still open, but I will be closing it at 10 p.m. tonight. So if you happen to be watching this and you're on the fence about enrolling, there's still some time to sign up for that. All right, so the QR code is right over there. If you want to check it out, you can hold your phone up over that and visit the webpage. But basically what's happening is in the month of December, I know it's a busy month with the holidays and whatnot, but if you're job seeking and not working, you've got some time, right? So I am giving you a couple of the bonuses that you can get started on right away. We're also holding a welcome event tomorrow, Friday the 13th, another one on Monday the 16th, and a third one on Monday the 23rd. During those welcome events, I will be showing you how to navigate through the Level Up program, showing you the bonuses. We'll be talking about the Add to Calendar tool, how to use that. I'll be walking you through your quick start checklist to give you a little bit of a running start, and then we'll open it up to questions. So I don't want you to wait. If you have questions, And I don't want you to wait on the quick start checklist. I want you to get started with those things in December. And I'm letting my members know you can join either one of the welcome events or all three. It's really up to you. But then in January is where we're going to start with the live virtual group instruction. So we'll be going through all the program elements in January. And I chose Monday as the instructional date. Typically on Monday, I have a couple Tuesdays that I needed to move due to holidays and other obligations. But typically on Monday, because I know when you're a job seeker in career transition, I remember that. And I remember feeling like Monday was like one of the hardest days because everybody's going back to work and you're not. And you're just getting your job search started again. So Monday will be the date that we'll be doing instruction. If when we start the program, the group as a whole says we really want to do Tuesdays or Wednesdays or Fridays, then we can shift it. But I've always been a big believer, let's just draw a line in the sand and use that as a starting point, as a jumping off point for the program. So that's the game plan. They will be on Mondays for 10 weeks from 11 a.m. to noon Eastern time. All right, let's see. I think that's all the questions from this Saturday webinar. So now let me open up questions from the previous week. We had 3 webinars. So I had the first one that was on Wednesday the 4th. So I'm going to go to that webinar Q&A and open that up. And by the way, I'll be taking your questions next as well. So feel free to drop your questions inside chat and I'll make sure to get those answered before we wrap up on here. Okay, I'm in the right folder. I got the Q&A report. And this is one of the things I like about Zoom webinars is they do give you the ability to have a Q&A panel. I need to sip real quick here. By the way, green apple Gatorade, not promoted, not sponsored. Maybe like somebody from Gatorade could contact me. I'll be your spokesperson. But Gatorade, green apple. Can you see that? Oh, it's good. If you like Gatorade, they're hard to find. I find them at Kroger here in Michigan. Talked about Kroger today too. Maybe I should be a sponsor for Kroger. I don't know. At any rate, okay. What is a good SSI score? So the SSI score is something that we did talk about in the webinar. Let me pull this up on screen here, and I'm going to walk you through what this is. So let me share my screen real quick here. Hey, look, it's the Level Up program. If you go to mellermarketing.com/my-LinkedIn-SSI, I created a bookmark of this because it's a little bit tricky to find it. You can certainly do a Google search for your LinkedIn social selling index, but I just bookmarked it on a page. So mellermarketing.com/my-LinkedIn-SSI. Let me see if I can drop this. I think I can add like a ticker on screen as we're talking about this. I'm using Restream and I'm a little bit newer to Restream. Yep, there it goes. Okay, so that's how you find the webpage. And then when you get here, you click on See Your SSI, the little pink button. And that will open up this web page. Let me navigate back to it. It didn't navigate for me, open up in a new window. Okay, and then when you're on this page, you're going to click on where it says Get Your Score in the middle. And the SSI, the Social Selling Index, is a number that they at LinkedIn give to every member. And it basically measures your effectiveness at social selling. So it's really designed more for people that are using LinkedIn for business development, prospecting, things like that. But I think it can help you, even if you're a job seeker, to assess where there are opportunities for improvement on the platform. So it's an index. So 0 to 100, 50 is average. So it's like when you go to the pediatrician and they say your child is in the 50th percentile for height and weight, you know, you're average for all children at that age. So anything above 50, you're doing better than average. Anything below 50, you have some opportunity for improvement. And if you want to figure out where to improve, you've got to look at the 4 components of your score. And typically it's the middle 2 numbers where we have some opportunity for improvement. But as a jobber, you might see the top number, which is establishing your professional brand, being a little bit lower. So, you know, kind of focus on where those 4 components are. I would say anything below 50, you have some opportunity for improvement that's inside there. So hopefully that makes sense. And if it's your first time looking at your SSI, I just want you to keep in mind, this is a benchmark. It doesn't really mean anything other than it can assess your effectiveness at using LinkedIn for social selling. So do keep that in mind. Okay. All right. I used a former employer email to sign up with LinkedIn. I can edit everything except changing my LinkedIn admin email address. Help. So in this scenario, you're probably going to have to contact LinkedIn help and submit a ticket, because what will happen is LinkedIn will not allow you to change your email address or to add a new email address without getting a confirmation from the old email address. So you're probably going to have to go through the help desk form or submit a ticket to them for that. If you need instructions on getting that form, let me know. I can help you with that. For those of you that are watching this and you have your work email as your only email on your account, I want to let you know you can add a secondary email in there. And I would definitely do that. Like, do that today. Put your home email on there. That way, if you ever lose your job or leave your job, you can get in using your home email and you can remove your work email. So don't get yourself in a situation where you can't get into it. You can go around that and go to LinkedIn, but it will take maybe a day or two for you to get back in there. Okay. Let's see. Another person says, with regards to their job search, I'm seeking a certain salary and location. I'm not picky about a job title. What are your thoughts? So you're probably at a certain job title level. So let me use my example earlier. When you first get started in marketing, you might be at like a marketing assistant coordinator level. The further up you move, you become a marketing director, marketing manager, etc. in there. So I think you need to at least maybe not a specific job title, but a job level. I think that's important. And if you're really open to anything, let people know that. But in your headline, I think you'll find that you come up in more searches if you are using a specific job title. All right, my friends, we got about 3 minutes to go. So I want to see, I didn't get through all of the questions. I got through a lot of them. I might do a second, maybe another LinkedIn Live in the future to answer more of these. But I do want to see if there's any questions that have come into chat because I've got a coaching call in about 5 minutes that I need to jump on. So let me see if there's any other questions that you have asked here today that I can help you with. All right. We answered that question. Best way to separate words in the headline, comma versus the pipe symbol. Ralph, great question. I am having a very healthy debate right now with this, with Kevin D. Turner. I did a post earlier this week asking about the pipe symbol and whether or not it impacts search results. And I asked people to grab screen captures. And based on the results of what I was seeing there, I'm not going to tell people to not use the pipe symbol. Kevin is pretty dead set against not using it for some different database reasons. And I'm going to have a separate conversation with him and we'll figure that out. But for now, Ralph, I want to make sure that you have a space before and after any pipe symbols or slashes or things like that. Commas are fine if you prefer to use them, but I personally like the pipe symbol or some type of separator inside there. Okay. This is a session that's really focused on using LinkedIn for job search. So about the service request, I'm not going to answer that for you here today, but I do want to thank all of you who took the time to join me for today's LinkedIn live broadcast. And I do want to encourage you, if you're thinking about signing up for the Level Up program, we will be keeping enrollment open just through 10 p.m. tonight. So if you're thinking about signing up, I just want to let you know, don't wait. Don't wait till the end of the day because once it's closed, it's closed. And I don't have any immediate plans for opening up another cohort in 2025. Kind of going to play it by ear, see how business is going. And I want to make sure that my Level Up cohort 1 members are getting the best results inside the program. So if you're interested, go to millermarketing.com/levelup. And look forward to seeing you inside the program. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all on LinkedIn. Take care, everyone.